One of my primary areas of study, I am a mid 19th century historian. Okay, mid 19th century is primarily the Civil War, Lincoln, and slavery, which that is the transition of slavery in America. Whereas the 13th Amendment ended chattel slavery and began penal slavery, which is what led to convict leasing, Jim Crow, Plessy versus Ferguson, separate but equal, civil rights era, the war on drugs, Nixon, the war on drugs, Reagan, mass incarceration, 1994 crime bill, and so on. Well, 1994 crime bill, mass incarceration. So all of these are oppressive, labor, belongingness, controlling capitalism issues that deal with a particular group of people more so than others, which is Black folks. And in my dissertation, I actually argue that the foundation of these control issues that began immediately after the forming of the nation is a policy that they had called colonization. Now, one thing that I argue in my dissertation, and is very important to note, is that the word colonization, when we think of colonization, especially as Americans, and also if we have a traditional American education, we think of the 13 colonies. Haiti was a colony of France. And just to use those two things to not get overly into colonization, we're just going to do real broad, sweeping ideas of colonization, is that there was a relationship between the colonized and the colonizer. So let's take Haiti and France. There was a cultural connection. That's why many people in Haiti to this day speak French. There was an economic relationship, money. So there was, it was a economic flow between the country and back end as far as investment and proceeds. So, and there were also political connections. If you think of the 13 colonies, that was one of the main issues, that they were controlling their taxes. They were saying how things were going to go politically. They were saying how they could expand or retract their economy or their business ventures, Western expansion being one of the main ones. So there was always this relationship between the colonizer and the colonized. In using the word colonization, well, first, when the country started, they had to figure out, okay, what are we going to do about slavery? All these things, we're independent. We get to set up our economy how we want to. And are we going to have slavery? Slavery brought about some economic differences, okay? Some political differences. This, for the most part, was not a moral argument amongst white Americans. It just wasn't. It was something that dealt with their economic interest. Slavery was a power base in the South because they had the proper weather, they had the proper soil, they had the proper structure that would make full-time slavery year-round important. Well, the North did more in the textiles. They processed what was going, the things that were produced in the South. But when you have 6 months of winter, what are you going to do with a plantation full of slaves? It just wasn't economically feasible. So there naturally became a different economy up north than it was in the South. Now, it's not to say that there weren't other issues as far as Congress controlling commerce between the several states and all of that stuff. But I'm speaking very broadly to get to the point of why colonization was important. Basically, because it caused a problem between northern economies and southern economies, it came an idea of, we're established, we're autonomous, get rid of all the black folk. Get rid of them. Just ship them out. We shipped them in, ship them out. That's like 4 million black folks in between the formation of the country in 1860. In 1860, Lincoln took over colonization, because before then, the primary leader in colonization was an American group called the American Colonization Society. And this is a group of white people that designated where black folks should be, in their opinion. And they lobbied for money. And this was former presidents or presidents to be. These were very influential people. The guy that, Scott Key, the guy that wrote the national anthem, was a member of this. Lincoln was a member of the ACS. President Monroe was Daniel Webster. I'm talking, huge names in American history were part of this reality. And their goal was to ship these people out of the country. And that's how the country of Liberia in Western Africa was formed. Now, I can go on forever. That's what my dissertation is about. But what I really want to offer in this video are 3 primary books that you're going to need to find out, because most people don't even know that this happened. Most people think Lincoln freed the slaves, he loved black folks. That was not his original intention. Since his days in 1858, in the late 1850s, when he was having his famous debates against Stephen A. Douglas, he was saying then, ship all black folks out of the country. So we've kind of been taught a very incorrect history as far as Lincoln and the Civil War as it relates to emancipation and the ideas of freedom and inclusion and belongingness, particularly with people of African descent, because when they were colonizing, they were trying to colonize free and enslaved. Now, of course, the pullback was, I own this. This is my property. I'm not going to do this. So that made a big problem. Hence, there was definitely a civil war, but colonization was the attempt to be the solution to how we could do this without, having a civil war. Because all of what these people work for is being challenged. And it's 3 books. Philip Magnus and Sebastian Page, right here. Colonization After Emancipation. Definitely a must-have. Probably the most complete is this one by Beverly Tomic, The New Directions in the Study of African American Recolonization. And The American Colonization Society by Early Fox. Now, Early Fox's book is a earlier 20th century book. I believe this book is published in 1919 or 1912. I don't have my glasses But always look on the inside to see what year your books were published. It's going to make a difference in how current or how accurately you're commenting on a particular topic. It's these particular books have different views. Early Fox is more supportive of the ACS, whereas I think the New Direction study is a bit more critical, whereas Magnus and Page is kind of like, hey, it is what it is. This is the information. So this is a topic very few people know about. And when I say that to historians, oh, everybody knows about this. Most Americans don't. Most historians don't, if this is not their primary area of study. So in my particular work, I have renamed the colonization. That's how you're going to find it, as colonization during late 18th and 19th century American development. It's going to go under colonization. But it throws you off because you're thinking like the 13 colonies, you're thinking a relationship between when they sent those people to Haiti and they sent those people to Liberia, they wanted them gone. Part of the conversation, part of the contract of sending them to Haiti was that they became Haitian citizens. So that is not the case. So in my work, I renamed colonization to specify it to Negro colonization. And I think that contextualizes what was going on a lot more. But these three, Tomic, Magnus and Page, Early Fox, those are going to be your go-tos if you want to learn about Negro colonization, because a lot of people do not know. Or if you're going to write about it, that's where you're going to start. Now, I'm going to do a whole lot more on colonization, but these are going to be your home start on those, all right?